Alright guys, welcome back. Tonight we're going to be checking out some really cool gift ideas for Christmas 2017. Now I don't know how it is for you guys, but for me, my wife, my parents, other family members have always said it's really hard to buy you a gift. So what I like to do is find videos like this where guys are going over some really cool gear, cool EDC related gun type things, and send that video to them so no matter what they pick out, it's more than likely going to be something I like. So tonight I have a bunch of products laid out, stuff that is on the cheaper side of things, and then we kind of get up to more expensive type things. Now everything I talk about will be linked below, so you can just find that item you like, pick it out, go purchase it, whatever you gotta do. Now, I'm gonna start off with a cheaper item per se. All these items are items that I personally use. I like them. I would not be recommending them if I didn't. So the first light I want to talk about is a Streamlight ProTac 2 AAA. Now this is a little tiny pen flashlight, takes 2 AAA batteries, which is really nice. They're easy to find, they can be had for cheap, and these lights are about 25 bucks. Now I've been running this light for about 2 years now and absolutely love it. So if you know somebody that is into everyday carry or even can use a flashlight at work, I carry this flashlight at work a lot because it's handy, fits down in my pocket really easily, and it's a cheaper light. Now, getting into another item that is on the cheaper side of things, this is a Leatherman Micro, which is a multi-tool. Now for me personally, I really do like multi-tools, but most of them are huge. I mean, to the point where it's filling up your whole pocket, and I just don't like that. This Leatherman Micro can be had for around $30. It has a pair of scissors on it. It does, of course, have a knife blade, nail file, flathead screwdriver, tweezers, things like that. It's just a really handy tool, and if you know somebody in your life, whether it's a guy, girl, that is into everyday carry or works and carries a pocket knife, they will definitely love the Leatherman Micro. Now, moving on from there, I'm going to kind of stick to knives, I guess, real quick. The next knife I want to talk about is a Kershaw Cryo 2. Now this is a spring-assisted knife, which means you flip this little lever in the back and it pops open. These knives can be had at most Walmarts. I usually see them at most Walmarts for about $32, I want to say. I'm sure you can go online somewhere. I will leave a link below. You could probably find it a little bit cheaper with free shipping. But the Kershaw Cryo 2 is a great knife. Honestly, for whoever you're buying this for, when they pick this knife up, they're going to be amazed at the quality of this knife for $32. Now the next knife we're going to talk about is a Spyderco Tenacious. Now this is also one of those knives that you get for, I think this was about 37 bucks. You get this knife and you're like, wow, you know, this is not a $37 knife. It feels like much more than that. But this is a Spyderco Tenacious. Spyderco makes great knives. This one here is made in China, so it's not as up to par as some of their other knives, but still for 37 bucks, the Spyderco Tenacious is a great knife. Moving on to some more Spydercos here, and they're actually both the same. Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now this is kind of, honestly, my favorite knife, but this is kind of the gold standard of everyday carry knives. Now there are some knives out there that cost $500 to $1,000, but realistically, most guys aren't going to have those. The Spyderco Paramilitary 2 can be had for like $110 to $140. So for me personally, I really hate taking a knife out and beating the crap out of it, even when it is a $130 knife. But the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 is my all-time favorite knife, hands down. So this is a great knife. If you were to buy this for somebody, they would probably love you forever. Not saying they don't already, but if I open this package, which actually last year my wife got me this one, I already had this Spyderco Paramilitary 2, but I was like, man, I really want the black blade. So she got this one for me, and I still absolutely adore her for it. That awesome gift. This is the K-Bar TDI. Great self-defense knife. As you guys can see, this is what they call a fixed blade knife, so it doesn't fold up, anything like that. It comes with this little plastic sheath, so it slides into there, has a belt clip, so you can throw this on your belt. They do make other like holsters for this thing, or sheaths as they're called, where you can put this pretty much wherever you want. Now, I haven't been carrying this a lot because the sheath is bulky, and I don't like to ride this on my belt. I like to have a smaller fixed blade that I put in my back pocket, but some guys do like to rock these on their belts, and like I said, you can get aftermarket sheaths. This K-Bar TDI is serrated, which means the blade has those little bumps in it. You can get a smooth blade, but the serrated is actually a little bit cheaper, and I kind of like the idea of having a serrated fixed blade. We have one more multi-tool, and this is probably my all-time favorite multi-tool. This is the Leatherman Skeletool. This thing is absolutely great. Remember how I said multi-tools are usually big and bulky and they're not easy to carry in your pocket? Well, the Leatherman Skeletool is really, really nice because it's super thin, not very big, and I've actually been carrying this with me every day at work for probably the past 3 or 4 months. Mike over at Last Line of Defense talks these things up big time. Mike's a really good dude. We've chatted a few times, and after seeing it on his channel for so long, I was like, man, I gotta order one. Now, like I said, I use this at work a lot. We do have a nice pair of pliers up here with some more like wired type cutters on them. And what's nice about this is when it's folded up, you can still deploy the blade without even opening it. I know on some other multi-tools, you kind of have to open them to get the blade out, things like that. This is nice because I could pull it out of my pocket, deploy the blade, which it is a very, very sharp blade, and use it like as an EDC type knife. Now these can be had from anywhere, I want to say like $60 to $70. I have seen them a little bit cheaper. I think I paid like $64 something with free shipping for mine. And it also has this little clip on it right here. So you can clip this on a backpack, something like that. And then the last feature that this knife has is this little bit right here. Right now I'm rocking a flathead bit, and you can buy what's called a bit kit from Leatherman that has Phillips screwdriver bits, all sorts of different bits. They're like 20 bucks, but I don't have one personally. I really don't use this all the time as a screwdriver. Usually if I go to the range or I'm at work, I already have my tools with me. So I have used this, don't get me wrong, but I really don't use this as a dedicated, screwdriver or anything like that. Next up, let's get into some more flashlights. Now this light right here is a light that I just got in yesterday from Olight. This is Olight's S1 Mini Baton. Now the regular Olight S1 Baton, which we're going to talk about, is right here. And this is a very small light, packs a huge punch for how small it is. This one right here I believe is 900 lumens, I want to say. This one's the rechargeable model, the Olight S1R Baton. And it has a few different modes of light, but this thing gets stupid bright for its size. Now both of these are rechargeable. This one here comes with a magnet that slaps on the back, and then the Olight S1 Mini Baton, which is brand new from Olight, has a rechargeable battery. Now this was something that I thought was really cool, and I know most guys are going to say, a rechargeable battery, that's nothing new. Well, this battery from Olight has the USB port in the battery. So you plug your USB cord straight into the battery, which is nice because most of us have a USB cord for our phones to charge them. So a very common way to charge it. And the Olight S1 Mini is coming in right at 50 bucks. I believe it's 450 lumens, which for, the size of this light, it is very, very bright. Now the Olight S1R Baton can be had anywhere from, I want to say, $60 to $70. And this is my all-time favorite everyday carry light. Very, very small. I can recharge it every single night, which you don't need to recharge it every single night, depending on how much you use it. But very, very bright light for its size. Now let's move on to some weapon-mounted lights. The first one I want to talk about is a Streamlight TLR1HL. Now this is probably my all-time favorite light when it comes to cost, lumens, things like that, which means how bright it is. This thing can be had for about 100 bucks, can be mounted on just about any pistol out there, and is very, very durable. Very rugged, very durable, very bright. Everything about the Streamlight TLR1HL is just badass. Now the next light I want to talk about is a smaller light to the Streamlight TLR1HL, and that is the Streamlight TLR6. Now this light is more for smaller guns. This is a Glock 43. If anybody you're buying this for has a Smith & Wesson Shield, a Glock 43, and they actually do make these lights with a Picatinny mount these days, which means it could go on just about any handgun, but I highly recommend the TLR6 for a Glock 43 or a Smith & Wesson Shield. So if they have more of a compact gun, this is a really cool light. Now, I personally bought this light because my wife likes lasers. Now, this light here has a light and laser combo, which you can set it to not have the laser, you can set it to not have a light, but right now it's running the light and laser. There's just the light and there's just the laser. I think this light comes in right around $80 to $90, I want to say. Very, very cool little light. Now the next weapon light I want to talk about is an Inforce WML. Now this light here is a little different than the pistol lights because this light is dedicated for a long gun, rifle, something like that. It's not going to work on a handgun. Now the first light I showed you, the Streamlight TLR1HL, can be mounted on a rifle, a shotgun. I have ran that before, but this is nice because it's a dedicated rifle light. It sits really close to the rail. The controls are very simple to use when on the rifle. And the Enforce WML comes in right around $120 to $130, I want to say. And this light has a few features that are just really cool. First of all, we have constant on. So if you want constant on, you can have it where you just click the button once and it stays on. Next up, you can flip this little switch right here and have momentary. Now what that means is when we click our button, it comes on, but as soon as you let go of that button, it turns off. Some guys like constant on lights, some guys like momentary. So the Enforce WML kind of has the best of both worlds. The next thing I want to talk about is a first aid kit. Now you can buy something small like this, and this is actually a waterproof container that I bought at a Walmart and then loaded up my own first aid supplies in it. I know for me personally, I go out to the shooting range a lot by myself. Sometimes I go with a few buddies, but a lot of time when I go film, things like that, it's spare the moment. So I grab my stuff, I go. You know, my wife's always texting and calling like, you know, hey, make sure you're being safe, make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. You know, I'm out in the middle of nowhere by myself shooting in an open field. So I always like to have a first aid kit with me, and honestly, even if you're just driving, even if you're anywhere, having a first aid kit with you is absolutely great. Now, I'm not saying I keep one of these in my back pocket, but having a first aid kit, whether it's a small one, a big one, is definitely a good idea. Now, you can put together a smaller first aid kit like this for probably under 20 bucks. Now, if you want to get into a bigger first aid kit, something a little more serious, and this is my first aid kit that goes with me everywhere, in the car, when I go to the range, and this is actually a first aid kit from VanQuest Gear. Now, you buy just the bag itself, and then you have to load it up yourself, obviously, which can get expensive depending on what you want to do. I run a tourniquet on here. I have a bunch of medical supplies, which I do have a video kind of covering the contents of this. It's more or less a review of this bag, but I do go over a lot of the contents. So you could either go the route of having a smaller first aid kit, which that's better than nothing, or a bigger first aid kit. But either way, and even if you don't plan to pack a first aid kit, running a tourniquet is very important. Now I will leave a link below for TK4 tourniquets, RADS tourniquets, a few different kind of tourniquets. And guys, some of these tourniquets you could pick up for like $5, so there's really no reason not to get one. Next up is a gift that any gun lover is going to appreciate, and that is an AR-15 lower. Now, right now, these can be had for about $40, but the only downside to these for a lot of people is these have to be shipped to your local gun store. You have to go in there, fill out the paperwork. You may have to wait a day or two. Here in Indiana, you can get delayed, things like that. So this may be a turnoff to a lot of people, but getting a stripped AR-15 lower is really cool because you can start another project. For me personally, I picked up a few of these probably about 6 months back, maybe a year ago. And I do have a few projects lined up for them. It's one of those things that, you know, whenever I get some spare money or spare time, I will buy a few parts here and there. And eventually this will turn into a full rifle. Next up, a polymer 80 kit. Now these are really cool, guys. They cost about $150, but what they are is an unfinished frame. So you get the kit, it includes the frame, includes a bunch of drill bits, everything needed to finish it off and pretty much build it into a complete gun. Now, you will have to order all of the other parts to make it a complete gun, which can be shipped right to your door. That's another thing that's really cool about these. I can order this frame, order every other part on this gun, have it shipped to my house, finish the frame off myself, and boom, I have a complete gun. Now, I will leave a link below for the parts kits, which is everything you're going to need besides the polymer 80 kit, along with a discount code, and I will leave a link down below for these awesome polymer 80 kits from Exhale Weapon Works. Now, you can pick these kits up just about anywhere nowadays, but Exhale Weapon Works really steps it up and pretty much makes a custom polymer 80 frame. He puts all the stippling on here, and anybody you were to buy this frame for would absolutely love it. Next up, the Holosun 503 Red Dot. Now, I think a lot of guys in the gun community could agree that this optic has really proven itself over the past few years. Now, the 503 series here is going to run anywhere from $230 to $250, but Holosun does make a 403 series, which is going to cost quite a bit less. Now, they're both quality optics. Holosun has a really good warranty, great customer service, and I've been running this Holosun 503 on my CZ Scorpion back here for about a year and a half now, and I really love this thing. Now, the optic below it on my AR-15 is an aim point. It's about a $600 optic. The Holosun's about $200, and quite honestly, guys, there's not much difference between the two. Now, the Holosuns are great because they sit on an aimpoint micro mount, so there's tons of different mounts out there, and like I said, they're just a really great optic for the money. Next up, Geisley triggers. Now, Geisley triggers are pretty much the cream of the crop when it comes to AR-15 triggers. This one here is called the SDC, which is the Super Dynamic Combat. I'm running a Super Dynamic Enhanced in my AR-15. They're both wonderful triggers. They both come in about $230. So it is a little bit on the pricey side. I know some people would be like, why would you spend that on a trigger? I could almost build an AR-15 for that price. But guys, if you know somebody that runs an AR-15 and you were to buy them a Geisley trigger, they would freak out when they open that box up. Now, if you want to buy somebody an aftermarket trigger and you don't want to spend $200+, check out ALG Triggers. I'll also link them below. And they're actually a sister company to Geisley, but they make awesome triggers for under 80 bucks. Now, they make triggers for AKs, triggers for ARs. They have a lot of really cool parts as well. So I'll go ahead and leave a link for ALG as well as Geisley down below. Next up, I want to talk about an item that I think a lot of people want, but not many people go out and buy. And that is a plate carrier with armor plates. Now, this is from Premier Body Armor, and it is rocking a front and back level 3 plate, which means it's going to stop most rifle rounds, pistol rounds, primarily anything a civilian's going to come in contact with. This thing here is going to stop it. Now, what's nice about this particular setup from Premier Body Armor is it is very minimal. Now, they do ship these, I think, for about 300 bucks as a set, so you really can't beat that. Another thing I want to talk about real quick are these Wilder Tactical mag pouches. Now, what's nice about these is you do not have to buy a dedicated mag pouch for a specific gun. These mag pouches here will fit just about any pistol magazine out there. Single stack, double stack, Glock, SIG, HK, Taurus, you name it, these mag pouches are going to work. Now, as far as the rifle pouches go, they're going to fit most magazines. I think they're in the works of making one for the AK, but anything AR type style magazines, these will fit perfectly. Now, this pouch on my far right is a tourniquet pouch. Highly recommend those. We talked about tourniquets a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to get too into that, but I will leave a link for Premier Body Armor as well as Wilder Tactical down below. Now, last but definitely not least, a nice backpack. This one here is the 511 Rush 24. Comes in right about 100 bucks, and this thing has a lot to offer. Now, there are a ton of different backpacks on the market ranging from, $70 to $300+. But this thing is really made nice, has a ton of really cool pockets, and one of my favorite features are this rear pocket back here is made for body armor. So I run a Premier Body Armor level 3A soft panel back there. Just a really cool feature. Now, whether you want to spend $20 to $30 or $200 to $300, I feel like we went over some pretty cool gift ideas. Now, I will leave product links down below for everything we talked about, and if I have discount codes for those products, I'll also leave that down in the description. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.